Hey guys, today I wanted to go over a bunch of music theory, and this is going to be helpful for pretty much any style. If you play gospel, rock, funk, it pretty much applies to anything. I'm going to go over intervals, jazz intervals, how to play any song on the sixth string, how to play any song on the fifth string, starting with the root, um, tonic, subdominant, and dominant chords, and then I'm going to show you how chords relate to each other. So how the 1 is very similar to the 6, how the 1 is also similar to the 3, how 2 is similar to the 4, how 4 is similar to 6, how 3 is similar to 5, and how 5 is similar to 7. And also going to go over secondary dominance. So might be a long lesson, but let's just start with intervals. Okay, so we're in the key of A. And in the Ionian scale, or the major scale, which sounds like this, there's 7 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you start at the 1 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you start at the 1 again. And each of these intervals can translate into a chord. So, and I've gone over this in other lessons before, but this one's going to be a little bit different. So the 1, or the A, is going to be major. The 2 is going to be minor. 3 is going to be minor. 4 is going to be major. 5 is going to be major. 6 is going to be minor. 7 is going to be half diminished. And 1 is going to be major again. And those are kind of the default settings for those chords. And you can play those as jazz chords as well, but like, let's say you have a 1, 4, 5 progression, that would sound like this. 1, go up to the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's major, 4. 5 is major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is an E, and then back to the 1, which is A, which is major. So 1, 4, 5 would be A major, D major, E major, and back to A. Now 1, 6, 2, 5 would be A major, go to the 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is F sharp. It's going to be minor. 2 is going to be minor. It's going to be B. 1, 2, 2 minor, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a major. So 1, 6, 2, 5. So there's all kinds of different progressions you can do just with numbers. You know, there's like a really common one in pop is 1, 5, 6, 4. That's going to sound like this. It'll be A major, E major, F sharp minor, and D major. That progression's used in like hundreds and hundreds of pop songs. And then there's other ones that's common in jazz, like 2, 5, 1, like this. Which would be B minor, E major, and A. And to make these sound a little bit cooler, you can play them as jazz chords, which are 4 notes. So regular chords are 3 notes, like this. So the A would be A, C sharp, and E. That's a regular A chord. If you want to play that as a jazz chord, you add a 4th note. So instead of this, it would be this. So it would be A, C sharp, E, and G sharp. So it adds a little flavor to the chord on top. And you can do that same pattern of going through those chords with major chords. So, I'm sorry, with jazz chords. So in that case, it would be A major 7, to B minor 7, C sharp minor 7, D major 7, E 7, and then we could do it up here so we can stay in the jazz setting. F sharp minor 7. And then this would be G sharp, G sharp half diminished, and finally back to A major 7. So adds a little bit of flavor to the chord. but they still have the same voicing. So 1 is still major, 2 is still minor, 3 is still minor, 4 is still major, 5 is still major, 6 is still minor, 7 is still half diminished, and 1 is still major. The 5 is actually dominant now because we added a flat 7. That makes it a dominant chord. And there's other ways to play this. A lot of times, if I do this, I'll just play it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or here 7, 1. And let me just go over the fingerings for that. So that's for that A major 7, it's 5, 6, 6, 5. For the 2, it's all on the 7th fret. For the 3, it's 4, 6, 4, 5. 4, 6, 4, 5, 4. Then 5, 7, 6, 7, 5. Then for the dominant 5, it's 7, 9, 7, 9, 7. Then going down here for the 6, it's 4, 2, 2, 2. Then for that 7, a half diminished, that's 6, 7, 7, 7. And then back to the 1, which is 7, 6, 5, 5. So you can also play, different progressions using jazz chords. So again, the 1, 1, 4, 5 would be this. Or the 1, 6, 2, 5 we did before would be this. Or the 2, 5, 1, which is really common in jazz, would be this. So kind of some common progressions. Now that's the basic guidelines of how chords usually default. They can always be changed. You can always change a chord to a different voicing that it usually defaults to. Next thing I'm going to go over is basically, I kind of already went over the pattern of how to get to those intervals starting on the 6th string. So if you start in the key of A, you can go like this. But sometimes you'll start on a key like D, which if you wanted to go do it on the start on the 6th string, you would have to go all the way up here to that D. But sometimes you want to start on voicings that are kind of lower down here. So if you start on the D on the 5th string, here's what you can do. You can play. So now we're in the key of D. Okay, you can play the 1 here, 2 here. Completely different key now. So 1, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, 5 here, 6 here, 7 here, 1 here. And that way you don't have to play everything of a super high voicing up here, It's easier to do it down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then we can do progressions here as well, like 1, 4, 5, which would be this. And let me go over these the frets also for this. So frets for this would be 1, 7, 1, 7, 6, 7, 7, 9, 7, 8. Then all on the 2nd fret for the 3. For the 4, it's 3, 4, 4, 3. For the 5, which is an A7, that's 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 6, 5. Then for the 6, which is a B minor, that's 2, 4, 2, 3. Then for the 7, which is a C sharp half diminished, that's 4, 5, 4, 5. And then back to the 1, which is a D. 5, 7, 6, 7. So you can also do like that 1, 6, 2, 5 pattern here, which would be. Or you can do the 2, 5, 1 pattern, which would be. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And that's the method for playing on the fourth string. And that took me a while to get used to, because for a while I could only play numbers starting on the sixth string because I wasn't used to playing them here. So that's kind of how to figure out play any song in any key, right? You can start with the root on the sixth string or start with the root on the fifth string. Now let's go to the key of C. And I just want to go over a little bit of music theory as far as tonic, subdominant, and dominant. So those are the three main chord types. And so when we go over those, the 1 is going to be tonic. The 2 is going to be subdominant. The 3 is going to be tonic. The 4 is going to be subdominant. The 5 is going to be dominant. The 6 is going to be tonic. The 7 is going to be dominant, same as the 5. And the 1 is going to be, again, tonic. So there's in those three types, the tonic chords are the 1, the 3, and the 6. So that would be 1, 3, and 6. And those are, 1 is kind of the home, 3 is, it's kind of a soft chord that usually goes to the 4, to 4 of the 6, and then the 6 is relative minor. That's kind of used as like a sad feeling. And then when we go to subdominant, we have 2, 4, and I think those are the only subdominants. Yeah, 2 and 4 are the subdominants, and those generally want to go to the 5. So usually, if you have a 4 in C, so let's say we're in C, if you have a 2, it usually wants to go to that 5 chord. And then the 5 chord usually wants to go back to the 1. And same with the 4. The 4 chord, which is a subdominant, meaning it's going to the dominant, the 4 chord usually wants to go to the 5. So 4, 5, 1. And then we have dominant chords, which almost always want to go back to the 1. So the dominant chords are 5 and 7. And those generally they're very tense chords, so they have a strong pull back to the 1. Or here, 7, 1, 5, 1, 7, 1. So those are just some general rules. Subdominant generally wants to move to the dominant. Dominant generally wants to move to the tonic, which is the 1. So those are just some kind of relationships between the chords. Now I'm kind of just going to go through and I'm going to show you how similar a lot of these chords are. So, like, let's go back to C, right? So here's a C chord. C chord, the 1, we're in the key of C, and the 1 is only 1 note away from the 6. So if you see here, I'm only moving 1 note, this note. Everything here is staying the same. And that's because a C chord is C, E, G, and that's the 1 chord, and a 6 is A, C, E. So it's only 1 note difference between those chords. Now let's go to the 4. This would be an F, so the 4 and C is an F. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the same thing here. An F is only 1 note away from a D minor. So an F is F, A, C, and a D minor is D, F, A. So they're very, very, very similar. It's just a 1 note difference. Now if we go up to the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 chord is really similar to the 3. So the 5 is that's a G, which would be G, B, G, B, D, and the 3 is is E A B. So again, very similar. The 3 and the 5 are just one note apart. And you can also see that here in the upper register. So there's some relationships that are very close. So here's the 1 in the upper register. The only thing you need to do to turn that into a 6 is change this note, change this D to an E. So now it's a 6. Here's a 1, here's a 6. 1, 6. The 1 is also very similar to a 3. So here's a 1, here's a 3. 1, 3. So again, one note off. Same thing with a 2 and a 4. So here's a 4, here's a 2. 4, 2. And also same thing with a 4 and a 6, just one note apart. So here's a 4, here's a 6. 4, 6. Same thing with a 3 and a 5. So here's a 3, here's a 5. 3, 5. And now the 7 chord is very similar to a 2 chord. It's actually the same notes. There's only one note difference, which is that A flat. So the 7 chord is actually very similar to a 5-9 chord. So here's a 7 chord. Frets are 6, 7, 7, 7. And here's a E9 chord, which is a 5. And we're in the key of A, by the way. So 7, 6, 7, 7, 7. So just to show you, all these chords are very similar. A lot of them are just one note apart, and they sound very similar. So 1, 6. 1, 3. 2, 4. 4, 6. 3, 5. And then that 7, which is the same as a 5-9 or 5 dominant. You can also do all these scales, all these notes in the upper register. So if we're in the key of A, here's the 1, here's the 2, here's a 3, here's a 4, here's a 5, here's a 6, here's a 7, here's a 1. So if you want to play the chords up here, do a ska kind of thing. Like, it also works in gospel music as well. But the frets for that, for the 1, again, we're in the key of A, are 6, 5, 5 for the 1. For the 2, it's all on the 7th fret. For the 3, it's 6, 5, 4. For the 4, it's 7, 7, 5. For the 5, it's 4, 5, 4. For the 6, it's 6, 7, 5. For the 7, again, it's basically all on the 7th fret. And then back to the 1, which is 6, 5, 5. So again, here's like a 1, 4, 5 in the upper register. Or a 1, 6, 2, 5. So it's helpful to know those upper register chords. There's also different things you can do with altering chords. Like a lot of times in gospel, the 1 chord is played with a 3 in the bass. So instead of an A, it's going to be an A with a 3 in the bass, or an A over C sharp. So instead of 5, 7, 7, 6, 5, 5, it would be 4, 7, 4, 7, 6, 5. Another thing that happens a lot is a 4 is played with a 6 in the bass. So instead of playing the 4 like this, you'll play the 4 like this. So usually the 4 will be 5, 7, 7, 7. If you play it with the 6 in the bass, that would be 4, 2, 3. And another thing that happens very commonly is you play the 5 with the 7 in the bass. So instead of playing the 5 like this, you play it like this. So that's 7, 9, 9, 9. And then If you play it with the 7 in the bass, it's 6, 4, 5. A lot of times that those types of chords are used in as passing chords. So like if you do a 2, 3, 4, a lot of times you'll use this. So that would be B minor, then the A with a C sharp in the bass, and then a D. And then a lot of times you'll do 6, 7, 1, which is this. So that's a F sharp minor to E with the G sharp in the bass to A. Kind of another trick there. And then the last thing I'm going to go over is secondary dominants. So like I said before, the dominant usually wants to resolve to the note that's a fourth above it, right? So if we play a 5 in the key of A, it wants to go to that A, which is a fourth above it. So now, like I said before, the 2 is usually a minor. Actually, let's go over the 1 first. So like a secondary dominant, a good example is the blues, right? So like in the blues, instead of playing the 1 as a regular major, you play it as a dominant. And this makes it want to go to the 4. So making it into that dominant makes it want to resolve to the note that's a fourth above it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it makes that A7 want to resolve to that D. You can do the same thing with the 2. So usually a 2 is minor, right? But if you make the 2 a dominant, it really wants to resolve to the 5, which is a fourth above it, which is an E. So if you make a B a dominant like a B7, it really wants to resolve to that E chord. Another thing that's super common in gospel is changing the 3 to a dominant chord. So usually the 3 to 6 would sound like this. But a lot of times gospel musicians will make the 3 dominant, they'll turn it into a secondary dominant, and then play the chord which is a fourth above it, which is a F sharp minor. So this would be a C sharp dominant, C sharp 7 to a F sharp minor. And it just gives it a little bit more tension, wanting to go to that 6 chord, which is the F sharp minor. Same with a 4, not really a 4, but let's do a dominant 6, which would be up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6, the dominant 6, which is a F sharp 7, really wants to go to that 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a fourth above it. So again, all these dominant chords, they have a lot of tension and they really want to resolve to the note that's a fourth above them. So dominant 1 wants to resolve to 4. Dominant 2 wants to resolve to 5. Dominant 3 wants to resolve to 6. And dominant 6 wants to resolve to 2. So that's pretty much it today. In general, I would highly recommend learning your intervals and maybe start in the key of A. And then also learn the pattern on D that I was going over before, where you have to switch the chord, so it's 1. And then you'll be able to kind of figure out pretty much any song, because you can play with the root starting on the 6th string or the 5th string. Also, just remember, try to remember the tonics and the subdominants and your dominants, which are, so tonics again are usually 1, 3, and 6. Subdominants are 2 and 4, and dominants are 5 and 7. And those, again, like I said before, they generally have rules. Like the 5 and the 7 usually want to go to 1. The 2 and the 4 usually want to go to 5, etc. And just, get familiar with the secondary dominants. Those are super common in gospel music, and other types of music. But hopefully this lesson was helpful. I just wanted to go over some music theory because people have been asking for that on my Patreon and comments and whatnot. So don't forget to comment, share, subscribe. Check out my bio. I have bunch of links in there to charts and an ear training app and some other resources in there. So thanks for watching.